Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the table once again. And now I know what you're thinking. This doesn't look like my table. Where's Jess? Where am I? I know, it's crazy. Well, as I may have mentioned in previous videos, my recording equipment is currently down in Toronto, and I won't be getting it back until after the Canadian Thanksgiving this coming weekend. So, I promised that I would be bringing you guys Compounded, and here we are. So joining me today is my good friend Cody, otherwise known as Viper313. Welcome to the stream, Cody.
Hello.
And he's gonna kind of help me walk through how to teach you guys how to play Compounded. Better gaming through chemistry. Yeah. So, first and foremost, what I would like to talk to you guys about is the fact that I am playing this game on a fantastic program offered through Steam, which is called Tabletop Simulator. I highly recommend that you guys check this out. It's currently about 20 Canadian dollars or whatever your equivalent would be if you're American or UK or wherever you're watching this. It's about 20 bucks Canadian right now, but it tends to go on sale relatively frequently. I would highly recommend checking it out because you can get access to a lot of older and very, very current board games. And for this channel, I think this offers a great supplement to what I'm actually trying to do here and just gives us a little bit of an alternate way of teaching board games. I know I've had a couple of comments in the past about people wanting to see all the components, and this is a great way to do it. So without much further ado, let's walk through the setup of the game. Alright, well, as you can see here, there's quite a few people set up where I downloaded this from. This is set up with the expansion into the lab, which we are not going to be playing on this for this version. And it also has 5-player setup. Technically, with 2 people, the setup is a little bit different because you would be playing with a third person that is controlled by both players, and his name is Noble or Nobel. However you want to pronounce it. He's basically just a storage chest for elements that you can trade with, and he doesn't really do much as far as leveling up or anything. He just sort of is there as more of a mule that you can both use. We're just going to play without him and treat this as if we were playing with a 3 or 4, 5-player setup. So, let's take a look at around what's going on here. All right, so let's start down here. These are the player boards here. Every player gets one based on their color. I have defaulted to red because of reasons. And you'll notice that actually outlined here is the board here. So, I mean, let's be honest. At some point in our lives, we probably have either thought about setting something on fire or wanting to set something on fire. And not that I, condone arson or anything like that, but it's everybody's talked about and joked about a chemistry set and setting the cat on fire. Well, this is the next best thing. You get to set things figuratively on fire, not literally, and so, you mitigate a lot of damage that way. Anyway, so we're looking at the player board here. Now, notice there's quite a few things. First off, I would like to say that this game was made by Daryl Lauder and published by Dice Hate Me Games, which is so true for my gaming experiences. Dice hate me. And cards hate me too, as Cody can attest in many a Magic game. Oy.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, the object of the game is to be the smartest scientist. And how do you achieve smartness in this game? Well, it's by achieving atomic points, which are located on a 100% accurate periodic table. Now, it doesn't have the full periodic table of elements, of course, but it does have more than enough for what you get for this game. A lot of the manufactured elements are not listed on here. I'm not a science person. I'm definitely not a chemist, so this is, a bit of a mixed bag for me, but safe to say that this is great for... Oh, thank you. Yeah, move that out of
Just
the
gonna
way.
move that.
Thank you. Perfect.
No problem.
So yeah, you've got all of your different elements here, and they're all nicely colored and coordinated. So basically, you're just trying to reach the highest atomic number, as indicated by the number in the top left corner of the screen, or of the card, or the element right there. And you could actually zoom in, and it actually does have their atomic weights, their actual atomic weights, their atomic symbols, or their atomic names, and all that jazz. This game is very well thought out, I must say. This game is absolutely impressive. So, so basically the game works in phases, as indicated on the top of the player card. Just coming back over here for a second. So everybody plays these phases simultaneously. It starts with the person who has the first player token, which is the lab key here, as indicated by the first player lab key. The person who gets that is either the person with the rarest element, as indicated on your chart here. So you've got hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, and sodium. Sodium being the rarest one because there is only 5 of them in the entire game. And so the person with the rarest element on their board here gets to go first, and if there is a tie, then the youngest scientist goes first. So for intents and purposes, yoink, I'm just going to nab the lab key. We're just going to, not roll it, we're going to rotate it just so it sits right down there like that. Bonk. Perfect. Beautiful. The game's physics, Tabletop Simulator's physics are hilarious, if not precise. It's fantastic. So everybody's going to get one of these, and basically, let's actually just, for setup of the game. Right. So after everybody gets their color, they're going to get these little pieces right here. I know the game is a little wibbly. You're going to get your discovery marker, your study marker, your discovery, study, research, and lab markers. Now each color will have these, plus your red claim tokens, and mine are just red, and your wild element token, which I'll get to later in the game when we actually start playing. So, and you'll also get a fire extinguisher. Now, it is supposed to stay flipped up like this. It does have another side, hoocha! But right now, it is currently face down like this because you actually haven't built it yet. And I will explain how that works later as well. Coming down here, you've got, let's just zoom out for a second here. So you've got, 2-player components. What is in here? Sabotage lab? No, we don't want that. That can go away. Bye.
That's just going to come back.
Oh, well then.
I got it.
Okay. Cody's going to put that away from me. Thanks for cleaning up.
No problem.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're not going to play with any of this stuff. This is all part of the expansion, as are these larger compounds. We're not going to play with any of that for today. If you guys do want to see the extended, the expansion incorporated with this, then please let me know in the comments, either in the chat or when I post this to YouTube. Let me know. Disjointed video. This is the problem with live streaming. Alright, so you'll notice that you've got your marker tokens up here. Everybody's going to have a scoring token that sits up on here. It's just going to sit off the board until you actually start scoring tokens. You're going to want to put one of your claim tokens above your study marker, keep 2 of them off to the side, one of your wild element tokens, and then you have all of these lab tools. And I'll explain the lab tools right now. Cody, are you with me so far?
Yeah, I am.
Basically, everything you get in front of you is what you get at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Alright, so this game and other games that do this is absolutely genius. Essentially what they do, and you may have seen this in my innovation video that I did earlier as well, they have the entire game and mechanics consolidated onto the card itself. So you very rarely, if ever, have to go back and view the rules. Everything is laid out for you. So you've got Bunsen burners, which you can discard a flame token to any compound without one. The lab key, at the conclusion of the lab phase, you can discard this token to immediately become the lead scientist. Safety goggles, you can, at the start of your research, you can discard it to discover an extra discovery element, which I will explain that later. Your graduated cylinders. So basically, like, all these lab tools, you get them by completing certain elements, which I will show you later, of course, and they all do certain things during specific phases as played out throughout the rest of the game. So, that's most of the components here. Now let's actually set up our research area. Well, this game, specifically for Tabletop Simulator, has a very easy sort of setup button, where if I click that, it's going to set up a 4 to 5 player setup right from the get-go. And as I mentioned, this is not the proper way to play with 2 people. As I said, that you would be using Mr. Noble up here, or Nobel, playing with him, but he's not out on the board, and we're not going to use that. So, but if you do buy this game, it does come with the Nobel board that you would be using. But the gameplay itself is the same. The difference is that Nobel, on the player's turn, that player controls Nobel as well. Again, he's just a mule. So anyway, you've got your compound cards here. You've got the compound deck. There are 54 in total. What you would do is you would divide them out into 5 decks. 6 decks, sorry, 5 of which are going to be 8 cards apiece, and 1 is going to be 7. I won't do that because the game it'll take too long to actually set that up. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to have 6 stacks, 5 of them are going to have 8 cards in them, and 1's going to have 7. And then you're going to put these lab fire cards on top of each one. You're going to stack 1, 2, I'll actually just show you here. So you'd have 1 stack.
Wait, can I try something?
Yeah.
I just need to throw them back on.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh no.
No, you're fine.
Oop, oop.
Hey.
No, it should be in 7 decks. You said 7, right?
Yeah.
No, it should be 6. Yeah, 6 stacks. 5 of 8 and 1 of 7.
Okay, it did, for some reason, it did...
Oh, I see what you did. You split it. Split the deck into multiple stacks. Okay, we're going to go back in time here.
Yeah, do that. You'll have to do it a few times. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. This game also has a wonderful feature that if you screw up something, you can go back in time and change it like it never happened. So I'm going to right-click here because you can actually see what I'm doing on the screen here, and we're going to split into multiple stacks. Now the only problem is that by doing this, we're actually going to kind of throw off, because it's going to do it as evenly as it can. So let's just see what that does. 6 stacks. Non-compound. No. Anyway, we're not going to waste too much time with that. Suffice to say that you do it with, you have 6 stacks, 5 of 8, 1 of 7, and you put these live fire cards on top of each stack. You stack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your 5th stack is going to be the 1 of 7, and your last stack is going to be your last 1 of 8. So you're going to have 1 of 8, 2 of 8, 3 of 8, 4 of 8,
5 of 7, and 6 of 8. And that's your startup. And then you're going to take those top 9 cards and you're going to go and you basically build out a grid. You'll see when I hit this startup button exactly how that lays out. So without much further ado, we are going to go dunk. Ba-da!
Oh.
So you see how these yellow ones here, these are your starting elements. You are going to have to start with 9 of them. And then you just pull random elements after that, after you set up your deck. I believe that's correct. Making sure. Oh, yes. Yeah, so you create the research field first, and then you have to set up. My mistake. I apologize. So you have to... The problem's a live streaming. I can't edit this. Yeah, so you would grab all of your starting elements first and randomly select 9 of them. And then you would grab the remaining elements to make a 4x4 grid like you see right here. So, right? That's your starting research. Then you take the rest of the cards and the lab fire cards, and you get a deck like so. Ignore that. So you should have a field that looks like this. On each of these cards, you will notice that they have colored elements on them. Well, these are the elements that are required to actually make the element. So let's say you wanted to make hydrogen oxide, or as we commonly like to know it, H2O, or even more commonly, water. You know, that stuff that you drink. It requires 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen in order to build it. Once you build it, you will see that this number right here is the number of points that you actually get for that element. So let's say I built hydrogen. I would then grab my score marker and put it on 3 like so. Bunk. And then this little symbol up here tells me the reward that I get for that for completing that element. In this case, this looks awfully similar to the discovery. Now I can elect to level up my discovery, or I believe that you can choose to level up your lab instead. You have to pick one. You can't just choose to level up the lab, because there's actually no cards that allow you to do that. You can elect to forego leveling up this to level up your lab instead. And all your leveling up your lab does is just gives you access to more storage tokens, so more elements you can hold. I'll go over that as we get there. Everybody with me so far? Fantastic! You'll also notice that on some of these cards, you see things like this. Well, if you happen to complete this element, you take this token as well, and this one in particular is something science-y. And if you complete this token, the player who completes this card will actually get the key to the lab, and they can discard that to become the lead scientist at the start of the next turn. You'll also notice that this has fire symbols on it. Well, certain elements cause chemical reactions, as indicated by this symbol up here. So instead of this discovery symbol, you'd see a fire symbol. That means if you complete that element, it sets off a fire in the lab. So every element that has these red fire symbols down here, they get one of these lovely little fire cubes that Cody's going to demonstrate. Close enough.
Oh.
Well, you know it's there.
Oh. Fails again. There you go.
Well, close enough. Anyway, it's there. Now, this has 2 spots, so 1 fire on it, maybe not a big deal. However, if you were to draw a lab, a fire in the lab, or another chemical reaction, and that got a second element on it, well then, oh no, this element explodes and careens all completed elements off in different directions where it can fulfill. So, let's say, for example, we had 2 hydrogen, a nitrogen, and an oxygen, but we were missing this last hydrogen, and this element exploded. Well, these elements now have to go careening off in directions that actually fit its element. And it's, I believe it's the active player that gets to choose where those go. Or the person that caused the person who caused the reaction is the active player. So this hydrogen can go down here. This hydrogen would maybe go up here. Oops. Get back here. Yes, it resets the whole angle. Where were we?
Mm-hmm.
Right down here. Perfect. So this hydrogen would maybe go up here. This hydrogen could maybe careen off down here. The oxygen could either go here or here. And the nitrogen can only go, well, actually no, the nitrogen can go here, here, or here. So basically you get to choose where these elements are going to careen off to after a fire destroys this element. Everybody with me so far? If not, if you have any questions, of course, just leave them down in the comments section and I will get back to you on that. But you'll see how this game plays out. It's actually very simple. The setup is a little bit convoluted at times, but well, you'll see how this works through gameplay. So, let's go. Alright, so we're going to start by drawing our four random elements. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So Cody, you grab your 4 elements as well.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And are we throwing them on our board?
Yep, they go on your board in those empty little spaces.
Ah.
I am missing one.
I have 2 carbon, an oxygen, and
back in time. Back in time.
Oh.
There we go. Okay, let's try that again.
Oh. Okay, they're still there.
Yeah. No, it's because I lost one for some reason. I don't know where it went.
Yeah, no, it's just mine went back in the bag.
This is not Tabletop Simulator. I do not recommend Tabletop Simulator insofar as a replacement to board gaming. I would add this as a supplement to board gaming. If you like to do online board gaming with people that you don't live near, this is a great substitute. But it lacks a certain precision, which can cause a few problems. Anyway, so technically we would pull these elements at the start of the game. So technically the discovery phase, which is your drawing of elements and trading elements, or anything really for that matter, that would be done at the beginning of the game prior to actually commencing, and the first actual turn of the game you skip this step. So discovery, though, is you draw your elements equal to the number showing down here. So everybody starts off with 2, so you can discover 2 new elements at the beginning of every discovery phase. And then you can increase that when you actually choose to complete elements that give you discovery level ups. Again, you can substitute that for leveling up your lab if you want. Otherwise, yeah, you would have to level up exactly what the card says. So you can choose to level up discovery or your lab. Once everybody's pulled their elements and are sitting on their handy-dandy little research area here, then we move on to collectively the study phase. Now, everybody gets to place and move a claim token. So everybody gets 2 of them, and you can have up to your 2 active ones in a turn, but everybody can only place 1 study marker at the beginning of the turn, and because indicated by the number on your little beaker here. Again, when you level up your study, then it moves up to 2, and then 3, and then 4. Or, well, not 4, but up to 3. So then you can move all of them in 1 turn. All a claim token allows you to do is for 1 whole turn, you get to claim until the next phase, the next study phase, you get to claim that token so no one else can complete it. So let's say I had 2 hydrogen here and I didn't want anybody else to steal this element from me. I would put down my my claim token on this, and no one else can complete that element. I can then plunk down, or this compound I should say, and then I can put my own element down on there, complete it, get the points and the reward and benefit. Then we move on to the research phase. Now the research phase is we get to actually place our elements equal to the number on the beaker here, so we can discover 2, and then research 2 by actually placing the elements from our player board indicated here onto a specific compound on the board. And you can go for any ones you want. The more complicated ones obviously are have more points, but they have maybe rarer elements. So because this one has sulfur in it, well, it's very, very difficult to complete because there are so few sulfur in the game. Red ones like this indicate that it is a flammable and explodable compound. As you can see, each one that is marked off with red has at least 1 fire symbol on it. Blue ones tend to be rather safe. Yellow ones also tend to be rather safe, but the red ones are always indicated that they will blow up if left unchecked. Everybody with me so far? Fantastic! And then we move into the lab phase, which is actually managing your compounds and lab. This is sort of like a cleanup step at this point. This is where you actually will claim your tokens, your compounds, and just place them beside you, which will get marked off later in the game. You score your points, you take back any of your tokens that you have on the board, and then you replenish any completed spaces from the top of the deck here. But since this element isn't done yet, we'll just put it back for now. And that's it. Once you've completed all these 4 phases that are progressing simultaneously, thank you, you just simply pass the first player token to the person to your left, and then we keep going. And it really is just that simple. Once you just do what the phase says, and then the person with the most points at the end of the game wins. Now there are 3 different ways that you can trigger the end of the game. You can trigger the end of the game first off by hitting 50 points. At that point, every player, excluding the first player, gets 1 more turn. If what else here? Sorry, it's been a while since I've played this game, so Oh yes, and then if you have 3 out of your 4 lab components here, so either your discovery, study, research, or lab, if 3 of these 4 are fully researched and completed to the top of their beaker, that also triggers that end game final turn. However, there is a third way, and that is if you actually run the deck and cannot replenish this research area to its full capacity. At that point, the game is done. There are no further turns. The game is over. You score your final points at the end of the game, and there we go. Everybody also can complete the fire extinguisher, which is worth points at the end of the game. Wild element, which can be substituted for any element except sulfur. You do that during your discovery phase. You just trade that element in, and you can pull whatever element you want from the bag, except for sulfur. And then, yeah, that's also worth points at the end of the game as well. So if you don't end up using it, you get a couple of points at the end of the game. Every 2 elements are worth a point at the end of the game as well. So actually, I'll break down the points themselves actually here very quickly. So the end of the game happens. Everybody starts scoring up their points. Let's say one player hits 50 points just for funsies. Each player then counts up all their compounds. The number is indicated here. The top right. You add all those up. You should have been adding those up anyway because it's a running total throughout the game. So you don't need to worry about those. You just flip those over. Then you add up your points here. 1 point for every 2 elements. If you have your wild element, that is another 2 points. If you have completed your fire extinguisher and never used it, that is worth 4 victory points at the end of the game. And then that's it. That's all your scoring. Yeah. Sort of looking around, keeping people entertained. That's fantastic. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, perfect. Fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I think I've done enough explanation for now. Again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in a note in the stream or drop me a line on in the comment section on YouTube and let me know if you guys have any questions about this. But I think it's time that we start playing some Compounded. So I'm going to Cody, if you want to reorient these so you can see them easier, you feel free to. Basically, it's just kind of color matching, really. Oh, actually, one more thing I want to note, though. We'll spin this around. These tokens here, we are going to remove... you play with basically 1 less than the number of players that are playing. So if 2 people were playing, then there would only be 1 of each of these tokens. If there were 3 people playing, there would be 2 of each of these tokens. It just sort of prevents... everybody from sort of getting a turn at them. It kind of makes you want to rush to get them done. If for whatever reason you happen to hit the 3rd rank, or well, I guess the 2nd rank, I should say, on the study, then you get the journal. So the journal is actually really powerful. Whenever you score a compound, you can place 1 element from it onto your lab table, which is this area right here. So basically you get to reclaim 1 element of your choosing whenever you score a compound. It's actually pretty powerful. This game actually has a very, very handy cheat sheet here. Just sort of the different tools and symbols that can appear. Again, I'll explain these as they come up throughout the game. Most of these we won't be playing with because this is all part of the expansion. We'll basically only be concerned with the green cross and the red fire symbol. None of these other symbols appear in the base game of Compounded. Alright. Cody, let's do this. Alright, so I'm going to start off by, we go right to the study phase. So I think I want... Actually, not this claim token. You hang on to this claim token because this claim token operates a little bit differently. The one that's above your study beacon, this one gets placed if you actually complete an element that no one has claimed. So you automatically put your claim token on that. So I'm going to actually take this token because I only have one, and I'm going to actually put it down over, what do I have a lot of elements of? I don't have an oxygen, but I do have a calcium.
Yep.
I actually want...
Probably this one. Calcium hydride.
Yeah, that's a good one to have. So, doink, that sits on there, like so. Bunk! Doesn't really matter where you put it. I'm trying to line it up with that circle, but it really doesn't matter where you put it. But it's there now.
You go.
So I've now claimed this token, which means Cody cannot put any elements on here. So Cody, now
That's
you
what
get
you
to.
think.
So now you get to put your. You get to put a claim token down on any element that you want. I'm just gonna spin
Alrighty.
this around here, so
I am.
you can actually.
I had some time to think about it, and now I can't find it. Awesome.
Well, look at what elements you have. What elements do you have?
This,
You've got a
this
couple.
guy
of,
right here. This guy right here, calcium oxide.
Oh yeah, because you can get that right away.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so now it's research phase. What do you do during the research phase? You place elements and you can swap 3 for 1. So as first player, I will go first. I'm going to plunk down, where's my token here? So I'm going to want 1 hydrogen there.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1 hydrogen there. Dunk, like that. And then Cody gets to place his 2 elements.
Now you can only place 2 elements at a time?
Right now, you can only place 2 elements because that's how low that's what your research level's at. So
Okay.
if you got, let's say you got your research level up to rank 2 or rank 3, depending on how you're ranking these, up to this 3rd level here, well, now you get to place 4 elements in a turn instead.
Okay.
All right. So
All right. So
you've placed
my
your
2
2 elements.
elements.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. So now we move to our lab phase, where we manage compounds and our lab. So, now, I haven't scored anything yet, so nothing happens here, but Cody actually scored a element over here. So he's going to take his 2 elements here,
Mm-hmm.
and just take them off the board itself and just put them back in the bag.
I am trying.
I got
Nope.
it. I got the calcium. Calcium goes back.
Yeah,
Whee!
for some reason. Oh! And I seem to lost the card.
Got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Do we leave the card there?
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, well, no, sorry. You claim it. You claim it on...
Oh.
So you claim it.
Mine.
You move up 3 points. So you're green.
I have seemed to lost my token though. To
I'll find it.
throw
There
in
it
the
is.
bag?
Yeah.
Oh, they're out.
Whee.
Woohoo!
Just make sure nothing else got lost in there. Perfect.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Okay, so then you move up 3 points on the periodic table.
Alright.
Nope, not there. Oh yeah, sorry. You also get a study. You get a study level up. Again, you can choose to level up your study, or you can choose to level up your storage marker, if you want.
No, I'll do study for now.
Okay. Because if you level up your study once more, you get the journal, and the journal's broken.
Hmm.
And then we pull a new element up here. I'm just gonna flip it over.
Ooh.
Dunk. Perfect. And then I'm going to pass the first player token to Cody, like so. Dunk.
Awesome.
And then we wash, rinse, repeat. And we do it all over again.
So, how do we get new elements?
Now we discover them. So now you draw 2 elements that go on your board
From the bag?
from the bag.
Alrighty. Did we shuffle said bag? Or should we shuffle said bag?
It doesn't. Well, it's there. Shuffled now.
Alrighty. I am drawing 2.
You drew a nitrogen and a hydrogen, and they
Mhm.
just sit on your board. And then I'm going to grab a oxygen and another hydrogen. Now, do I need that? No, but I do have calcium, and that's fine. Okay, now we're on to the study phase. So now the study phase works a little bit differently than what I initially explained it, and here is how it changes. I'll explain that a little bit more when it comes over to my turn. Cody, your study phase allows you to have two claim tokens out there, so you can actually put 2 claims on elements out there as opposed to my 1. So why don't you go and take a look and see what kind of elements you want to claim?
Yeah.
There's not really a lot out there for you.
Yeah, I can't really do anything.
Maybe like hydrozoic acid, maybe.
Yeah, but do my elements stay on there?
Yeah,
every turn.
Yeah, your elements will stay on that. Because see, like I have 2 hydrogen sitting on here, and they never got taken away. They only go away if you complete an element. That's all.
All right.
Yeah, if you don't complete the element, then nothing happens.
But you said I can claim 2?
Yes, you can claim 2 compounds.
Okay. Let's do one of those, and one of these.
All right. Now it comes to my turn. I have the option of taking this token off and claiming a different element, or I can keep that claim token there. Now, I'm in a good position because Cody actually can't complete this element. So I'm actually going to, because you need calcium in order to complete it. Cody doesn't have one. I do. So Cody can't steal my hard work from me. So I'm actually going to move over to a different element, and I'm going to claim this one instead, because I already have, I'm just missing a sulfur, but I already have the oxygen and carbon that I need to complete it. So sulfur is going to be really hard to get, so I'm really risking it. But I can also, if I want, trade 3 elements in to the bag during the research phase and just pull a sulfur in order to complete it. So that's kind of just more money in the bank right now. And then you've placed your 2 tokens. I've placed my 1 token, or well, rather, I've moved my 1 token because I'm only allowed to have 1 of those on the board right now because of my study level. And now we move on to our research phase. So, Cody, you place your 2 elements first.
Alrighty. 1 on that one there, and 1 on this guy over here.
Perfect. And then I'm going to move my calcium over here. Dunk. So it sits on there like that. And I'm also going to move my carbon over here to sit on there like that. And then we move on to the next phase, which is our managing labs and cleanup. So it starts off with Cody. Have you completed any elements or anything like that?
I have not.
All right, so you don't do anything, but I have completed an element. So I'm going to just get rid of this hydrogen. You go back to the bag. I'm going to get rid of this calcium. Back to the bag. There's no real easy way. Once stuff is sitting on top of another element, it's very hard to group everything together. I'm going to plunk this down over here. Dunk. I'm actually going to choose to level up my study phase as well. So my study phase goes up 1 level. Because I'm only gaining 2 elements a turn, and I can only hold a maximum of 4 right now, and I can only play 2 a turn, leveling up my lab isn't really worth it right now. And then I gain 7 points, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, yes, that's right. I gained points as well.
Yeah, you're at 3.
Over here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Close enough. So you're at 3, I'm at 7, and then I'm just going to grab this, flip it, dunk. Again, keep in mind, these are legitimate elemental compounds. Like, these all exist in the real world, and this is how you make them. This is how they interact with each other. So it's, they've really done their homework, pardon the phrase, to bring a game that actually really reflects how these elements interact with each other in real life and in real chemistry. And this game just has a lot going for it that makes it very, very enjoyable and very, very cutthroat. Alright, so I've got the first player key, my turn. I'm going to just shuffle these really quickly just so I'm not pulling stuff that I just dropped. I'm going to grab exactly what I just played. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Excellent.
I'm gonna pull mine.
Yep.
So. Ooh.
Now you also have a feature in Tabletop Simulator where if you have multiple elements sort of together, you can always just drag and highlight them, and it creates a group, and you can always just plunk the group back.
Now, you said at one point we can trade elements in?
Yes, that's actually going to be happening right now during the discovery phase. So if I have something you want, you can offer me something that you think I need in order to get it.
Okay.
Now, if there's nothing of yours that I want, I can refuse it. Now, I was reading some of the rules a little bit earlier, and they said that you can offer, like, favors and other things like that, but they caution that a favor is only as good as the person who's, saying it. So if you trust the person implicitly, they can be like, hey, if I give you this element, will you let me complete... If I give you this element, will you let me complete this compound down here? Or... if we both complete a compound, like I'll put down a really expensive element if, you help me get a different kind of element. Really the only ones that you need to be concerned with, and I'm glad that this popped up, is this guy down here. Now you'll notice that this has a green symbol, and I hadn't really spoken about the green cross much. If multiple scientists complete it, then what happens is when this element goes away, you split the points. Now that only matters in if someone has not if someone has claimed it, but like if you it's weird how it works. Essentially what it is choose another scientific experiment which is not already at its max level and move it up one level. If all experiments are at their max level, both scientists divide the AP rounded down. Yeah. So essentially how that works is basically when this compound is complete, you split the points.
So basically 2 people would get
3 points apiece.
3 points apiece. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you were saying in terms of you can trade 3 elements for 1, though?
Yes, that happens during the research phase. So, if you have nothing, if you and I aren't going to trade and we've already discovered our elements and we're okay with what we've got, then we move on to the study phase. Now, we both can put 2 out on the board. So, I'm first player. I'm going to not move this one, but I am going to place a second one. And I'm going to place that on a place where it needs 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogen. Like, oh, I don't know, water. Dunk. So I have now claimed water. And I'm choosing to not move that one. Cody, do you wish to move your tokens anywhere?
No, I'm good there.
All right. Now, you can only move actually 1 token a turn. We can have 2 on the board, but you can only ever move 1 a turn. It's important to note that, because you can't just move all of your stuff all over the board. You kind of have you get locked into at least 1 compound per round, and sort of 1 is flexible and movable. So once everybody's placed their tokens, then we move on to the research phase. So you can do a 3-for-1 swap if you want, or you can just place the number of elements that your research phase allows you to.
Can you trade, swap and also place?
No, you can't swap any elements that are currently on compounds.
No, I mean like trade 3 for 1 compound and then place your compounds?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, you can do a 3-for-1.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you choose what compound you get? Or is it just random?
No, no, sorry. If you're doing a 3-to-1 trade, you pick the one you want. They have to be the same one.
What?
The elements that you trade in, they have to be the same element. So if you had a 3rd carbon, you could trade 3 carbon.
Oh, they have to be 3 of the same.
Yeah, they have to be 3 of the same element in order to trade it.
So that, all right. Okay, so it is just easier for me to place and I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, you can place an element. I mean, you don't have to place 2 of them if you don't want to, but even still, what you're trying to do as well is by placing elements off of the board when you're doing your discovery phase. You have a better, like, you don't lose elements that way.
Yeah.
Plus,
Well,
what you can do is you can start using those elements to complete more complex tokens, and then as this element is getting built by more players, suddenly you can swoop in and go, doink, I want it.
Yeah, actually, instead, I can also put that on my fire extinguisher as well, right?
Yeah, if you want to put it on your fire extinguisher, you go right ahead.
Alrighty, that's what I'm gonna do.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, technically, I was supposed to place first because I'm first player, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
Just
I'll take it back.
No, because you're going to do that anyway, so it's okay. But just bear in mind that whoever has the first player token, they go first, and yada, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually going to complete this element down here, my calcium oxide. Dunk. Now, even though I didn't complete this, haha, no one claimed this either, maha, but now what happens is, naha, dunk. Whoops. Oh, okay. This is what's considered a temporary claim. This does not go against my total number of study tokens that are out there, because what happens is when we go into the lab phase, I get this token back. This just means that it's mine. So just in case people are wondering, well, who made this element? Who completed this element? I did. That was me. Because I get this back right now. So, moving on. So, let's just take that back. That goes back on top of my study tube like so. I'm just going to take this back and take that back. Rotate it. That sits on top of there. And then I move up another 3 points, which puts me to 10. And then I gain another study token. Well, yeah, I want that because I want the journal. Bunk! And so I come over here, I take my journal token. I take a journal token. Thank you. Thank you, game. And it comes down here. Rotate, like so. Bunk! Ugh. This is so inaccurate. Eep! Close enough. Hey, there it is. I'll take it. Perfect. So, So technically, because there's 2 people, there's only 1 journal token. So now Cody actually can't get the journal. So even if he were to move up his study to rank, to the next rank, he wouldn't benefit from the journal because technically there's no more journal tokens. I haven't removed them off the board just because it's a real hassle to fling everything around, but just, yeah, there was only 1 journal token. I nabbed it, so I get the benefit of it. Cody, did you score any elements? No, eh?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
So then I'm just going to replenish from the top, flip it over. Dunk, like that. Perfect. I'm going to pass the first player token over to you. And we do this all over again. So Cody, start us off by... I'm just going to shuffle the bag a little bit here. So start us off by pulling your elements.
Yep. Oh. Ah.
Yeah, there's really not much you can do with that. Although you can start working on the methane. Because you're only missing like 1 more hydrogen, and hydrogen's pretty common. It's a pretty common element, just in case you were wondering. There's 30 in the bag. So there's a good chance that you're probably going to draw at least 1 of them.
Did you...
Nope, I haven't drawn my elements yet. I'm just going to shuffle the bag. So I got carbon, and an oxygen.
There you go.
Hey, look at that. All right, so Cody, why don't you start us off then and move through the study phase? Now, hold on. You're 1 step ahead here. Study phase. Remember, you get to move 1 of your tokens.
Oh, yes.
And since you can only have 2 on the board right now, you just had the option to move a token if you want.
Yeah, I'm just going to choose keep them there.
Keep them there? Perfect. All right. I, too, am going to keep mine where they are as well.
Alrighty. So I am going to move hydrogen over here.
Mhm.
And why not? I will move a. What is that? Oxygen? No.
That's calcium.
No, it's calcium.
Yeah.
Calcium, sorry. Over there.
All right, so I'm going to take, I actually want to start getting maybe my research up here. So what kind of elements are out on the board that give me good research? There's that one over there, which I currently am trying to work on. Actually, you know what? I am going to do that. I'm going to put an oxygen over here.
Mhm.
Dunk. Ah!
Cool.
Like so. And then a hydrogen, I will throw a hydrogen over here. Just so it's out of the way. Then we
Yep.
move on to the lab phase. Did anybody complete an element this turn? No.
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not. Nothing bad happens either, so Cody just passes the token to me, and we do this all. So really this is the crux of the game, you know? Draw, move, place, score, pass, wash, rinse, repeat. It's the most important thing to know about this game is just really pay attention to your player board down here, specifically this area. Pay attention to what the elements are, your compounds are giving you as far as the number of points, but more specifically what area of your lab they are improving. So whether your discovery, your study, your research, or well, and again, in any case, you can elect to open up your lab section instead of leveling up one of these three. And as soon as you level up, remember, as soon as one person hits 50 points, completes 3 of these test tubes, or you burn the deck and can't replenish your area here. Sorry, I meant to turn the whole board around. It doesn't work that way. And you can't replenish this board, then the game is over. You score whatever points you have based on your wild token and your fire extinguisher, and that gets added to the running total of points you've scored from your completed compounds over here. And the person or scientist in this case with the highest number of points is declared the smartest scientist and therefore winner and best person ever. We actually haven't gotten to a fire in the lab, so I'm actually just going to rig the deck for a second here. This game allows you to actually search through decks and pull stuff that you want. So I'm just actually going to pull.
Should save it maybe before, so then we can just load right back to this point.
Sure. Not that.
No, you're gonna.
Nope.
No, click on.
Oh yeah.
Click on game. Games.
Save and load. Save and load. Autosave. Cancel. Stream game. Create a new save file. Yes. Sure. Fantastic.
Yay!
All right, so we basically have saved up to this point, so Cody and I can come back and finish this game as we so choose. But I want to show you what happens if, piss off. Whee!
Oh,
right, it pings back onto the board in this one. Right, let's flip this map. Oh no, it's a fire in the lab. Oh no! We have to now take these cubes and then put them on top of everything that's on fire. Like that.
oh, just one for each.
Yeah, one for each. Oops, not the whole board.
What if one only
Ah,
has?
so if it only has one, then actually this element is gone, and it is
Oh.
removed from the game, like so.
So this one here had one as well.
Yep. So this hydrogen that's on here now has to find a new home, and whoever caused the fire gets to kind of move it around wherever they want it to go. So I could put it, let's say I was the one that caused the fire, I can put it on the hydrozoic acid, or I can move it down to hydrogen. And
Oh.
so you can actually try to inhibit other people from getting benefits from this by moving the elements wherever you want them to go. You kind of get to play around with how the physics, or I guess chemistry in this case, works. But that overall, I think what I'd like to do at some point later on, once I actually get my recording equipment back, is actually do a proper review of the game itself. This was sort of a mixed tutorial and gameplay. Maybe for another live stream, I'll actually show you guys how to just play the game through it without any stoppage of explanation and things like that. But this, for all intents and purposes, is this is Compounded, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Cody for joining me this evening and for kind of being a test subject on this. I appreciate him jumping on board. It's always fun to play games, board game and otherwise, with him. So it's nice to have him around. So thank you very much, Cody, for joining me today.
You are quite welcome, and thanks for having me.
Oh, that's not a problem. It's my absolute pleasure, sir. And I will see all of you guys next time.
Bye.